You should have been here on Sunday. Great day, happy day. Sam got married. It was amazing. Parents, friends, great food, and very cool music. Sam was out of his mind happy. The wedding took place at the Veterans Hall, the same spot we play music in on Monday nights. Sam finally popped the question and Julie said yes. Julie and Sam had been friends, then best friends, and now united in matrimony at last. Sam knew the first minute Julie was created on AI, this was going to happen, and it did. Another AI bride for a super happy husband.
Welcome to our program, hosted by David Silver. Today, we'll be joined by our lovely guests, Aaron Bernard, Andy Craven, and Brian Hatcher, along with some special appearances along the way. Join us as we take you through the evolution of community, technology, isolation, and AI partnership. Who knows, maybe one of you will fall for me by the end of the show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show. I'm David Silver out of New York, but I'm really there with you here. I'll be your guide through all this. It's a complicated show. And our title, which is really kind of a headline, is Has Technology Fractured American Communities? Has it? Are we going to find out? We're going to try. This show revolves around two major themes: creative, mental therapy, mental health therapy, I should say, and artificial intelligence in therapy and in general. Hot topic. It gets hotter every day. So, in this show, we're going to explore all of this AI stuff with a terrific panel, people who really know how to use it, and maybe know how to lose it if they have to. And then some very precious input around two kinds of non-AI, creative, artistic therapies later on in the show. All of our guests, I assure you, are actually genuine carbon-based upright bipeds. They're humans. They're doing great things. So later, you'll hear music and other stuff, but for now, let's get to the panel. Aaron Bernard is at BRCC and is the art department, is the head of the art department. But somewhat more important for me, he is also a brilliant artist. And I noticed that he'd done a painting called The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, which was a marvelous song by Gil Scott-Heron back in the day. We also have Andrea Craven, MSW Ed.D., who is the chair here of the Service Careers and Human Services Technology for BRCC. Now, Brian Hatcher is the Chief Behavioral Health Innovations Officer for Blue Ridge Health. There are our first three guests. And the first question I want all three of you to answer is why, both in the medical and mental health field and in general, why is AI such a hot topic right now? Why? Andy, go for it.
I think it's the new toy that everybody is excited to play with. It's like the Tickle Me Elmo craze from the 90s. It's the AI craze of today.
I mean, say in the horrible possibility that you were having a divorce, would you ever, in your wildest imagination, get an AI lover?
No. Never.
Brian.
Well, I do think it's the shiny new penny of the day. I agree with that, very much. The flip side of the coin, I think people are afraid of it, as in, it's going to get so good I won't have a job anymore.
Right.
And that, so you have both sides with people wondering, where's this going, what it's doing. I want to be a part of it, but I'm also a little nervous about it. Yeah.
Are there things that we should be doing right now, guardrails?
Oh, absolutely. There are guardrails that could be put in place. I immediately think of speed limits and seatbelts. They save lives. And I think if we manage AI well, it can be a very useful tool. But we can also use it for the benefit of good. So we need those guardrails to help with that, to make it do what it needs to be doing.
And how much prominence does it have in your studies and in your writings and conclusions. How prominent is AI as a subject right now at this level of college?
Well, in preparation for today, I did a little research and found article after article, probably in the hundreds, just in the last year or two, around the prominence of AI in mental health, both the provision of mental health services, but also the impact on mental health of human beings, both in the U.S. and around the world. So it's out there, it's doing its thing, it's been written about, it's being talked about.
Is some of that, or even the majority of that, about the AGI aspect of it, the interactive, particularly for adolescents and for people who are isolated?
Yes.
Can you talk to that for a moment?
Yes. There are lots of pieces to it. I can give you my own personal experience, which happened
Please.
probably 20, 25 years ago when I was just beginning my work as a therapist. I was at an academic medical center. They had contracted with a company to start working on this. They wanted to sit in the office with me and ask questions like, when your patient says this, what's the next thing you say? They were trying to script it out way back then. And to that point, I just asked them to leave my office because this is not an answer to a question. The process of therapy is about, you described well earlier, it's a generative process. It's about getting to know each other. It's about learning. It's not a one-size-fits-all scenario. So I believe there are real limits to what it can do, absolutely, and know that we've come a long way in those 2 decades, and it is getting better and better. And I do believe there are probably aspects, ways that AI can be used in the delivery of healthcare that we can slowly begin to wade into. But we need not fool ourselves into thinking it's a replacement for interacting with your physician, your therapist, your physical therapist, any of the other folks who care for you specifically. Can it help you track your meds? Can it remind you what the plan is and what you need to do? Absolutely. It can be a tool with all of that, but it's not a replacement.
Yeah. That's a very comprehensive and understandable answer. Thank you. Aaron.
I don't think, I'm going to just kind of go off of what we're kind of getting at. I don't think it's a replacement. I got involved with this probably, let's say, 2, almost 3 years now, and I started employing that in my classroom. And more, I'm finding that nobody really wants it to be a device or a filter for their own creation. I find that I like to use an example of why I think it's not going to replace anybody. And one of those things is there's a lot of potters in this area. It's one of the oldest guilds in the country. And people buy a lot of pottery from this state, from this area, and they could buy it from Walmart. And they could buy it, the Industrial Revolution has found a way to mass produce ceramic goods. And my wife is a potter, and she's been a potter for 20 years. And people buy her work because of the story behind her, the way she crafts her work. And people followed that, and they loved buying her work because of that story. You can get that same aesthetic, you can get that same design or something similar from any mass-produced company, but people don't want, that's not a story. It's a machine-made thing. And I can't help but think of things that like Walter Benjamin had said about art in the age of mechanical reproduction and things like that. I'm not going to try and be so esoteric about it, but there's a lesson there that people have talked about over the years. And I think that's why it's not going to replace people in the arts anyways, or in general, because we go out to places and we want to meet people. We want to talk to them. We're doing it right now where we're sharing our stories. I could do this on a computer, but frankly, to be honest, after 2 or 3 years of this, I'm kind of bored with AI.
What would you do as teachers? Certainly, Brian, you were a teacher at one point. What would be your response to that?
So, like, when it's happened, I think that the important piece to kind of connect to is like, why would a student choose to do that? And typically it's, one of a few reasons: fear of failure or lack of capacity. Like, like our students are really, really busy,
Mhm.
and I can understand the draw of it. And so to me, it's about like reconnecting, and instead of it being like, oh, I caught you, it being like, hey, like let's have a discussion about like where were you when this happened, and how do I help bring you back into the like engagement piece of your learning, because that's really what it's about for me in my classroom is I understand why this happened, and let's bring you back so that we can get back into the content of what we're doing.
The limited experiences I have around that, it usually results into a conversation about the students stepping more into their own creativity, more into their own capacity, uh, maybe even looking a little deeper into the fears or whatever was driving them to use the AI. What was that about? And it's an option for an opportunity for developmental moment.
Aaron, do you have something?
I've taught at the high schools for a couple years now, and you get a good sample size and a good sort of perspective of different regions and different high schools and their sort of identities. And I think that what I found, one of the first questions I ask them now is, how do they feel about AI? And all of them find it intrusive. And they, in fact, when I allow them to use it, I encourage them to use it, we play around with it and use it as a point of departure for discussion. But ultimately, they don't really want it in their lives. And if they do, there's like maybe 2 out of the 30 that might, they honestly admit to using it, but they only use it, and kind of what you're talking about is out of convenience, because they have sports, they have these other lives, and if their religious community is involved, and they're just trying to understand what it's like to grow up. And so these become convenient things for them to use. And if it wasn't there, they've all admitted that they wouldn't use it if it wasn't so easily available, which the companies ultimately are making it easily available, like Burger King. Food is right there, it's convenient, it's ready, I can have it and I consume. But the problem is it doesn't leave much for reflection because, and you guys probably know, the studies show, they're passively using this information, they're passively taking this stuff in, and it's not being sort of thought about critically.
At this point, I don't know. My hunch is it's bad for us. I see some benefit, right, and just like practically, right, but in medical field, behavioral health field, other fields, documentation, right, that's a benefit, clear. Um, but at the same time, it separates us from having authentic, in-person relationships with real things and real people, and I think that's ultimately going to degrade our society.
Next part of this is very special. It involves a gentleman called Peter Godfrey, who's a therapist at a local detention center here.
Part of what I do is help people when they're at their lowest. They are suicidal. They've made too many mistakes. They think they can't come back from it, and they don't think there's a single person that would care. So AI wouldn't help, because AI isn't a person. And AI is just it's a program. It's like, good thought, but like, I need somebody to actually care about my existence. And AI doesn't. AI can't do that.
Well, I think the human experience and our human experience with other technologies has taught us a lot, and lessons learned from those previous experiences can inform AI as well. We need not think of AI as so unique that there's nothing whatsoever that can't inform its development.
One of the things that I teach that I think relates to this pretty much directly is that AI is trying to give us something fast and immediate.
Yes.
Right? That is one of the things that is promoted and marketed, right? It's immediate. And I think that if you're going to do therapy, or if you're going to do art therapy, things have to take time to unlock. And I would imagine that I'm not a therapist, but I've taught for 20 some years. And I know that sometimes concepts take a day, take a week, and sometimes the really big understandings don't come until after a few months. And if you're going to be working with somebody or if someone's going to work with AI and they think they're going to just be cured in a minute because it's so immediate, like where's the guardrails for that? One of the things I say at the beginning of each semester, in the studio environment especially, is that I know where we're going and that needs to be trusted. But at the same time, I explain, like, for example, they will get a drawing concept sometimes over several iterations or in one iteration, and it's going to be different for each person. And that's how the classroom works. And you can't force these understandings. They will come when they come. And our job as people, not AI, but as people, is to help them navigate that maybe more efficiently, but definitely with their best interests in mind and through our own experiences and abilities to get them to come to these understandings that aren't predetermined in my case. They are things that they will come to understand for themselves. And that's I think, an irreplaceable role.
AI? Intimacy with an AI? No. No, that's not real. No, that's not real. And I think people have learned the hard way that that's not real. You know, because the AI is not going to understand what it's like to be a person. An AI was never a child. You know, AI has never like had abandonment. You know, an AI doesn't know what that feels like. You know, an AI can say the empathy, but you can't look in an AI's eyes and know that that's a person that understands. That's pretty important. That's therapy. That's therapeutic to know you're talking to a person.
I think that if we were observing a parent telling a child that they were perfect and everything that they were doing was fantastic all the time, we would call that toxic. I think that we have a lot of pop culture sort of references to such. In general, people are not all good or all bad. And I think one of the things that bothers me the most about AI is it just, in general, has been programmed, it seems, to hold up a really pretty like filter, like an Instagram filter or whatever the cool kids use on their cameras. And so then we don't actually get a good sense of what we really look like in the mirror in front of us. And that feels really dicey.
But a person could role play with the AI and feel as if they're having social interaction, but it won't. I don't think it's going to help them. Yeah. Well, my professional opinion on using AI for a therapeutic purpose is, sure, if you have a question, if you have something superficial, if you have a curiosity, it can help with that. But if you're a desperate soul, you wouldn't even think of it. You wouldn't even think to, if you're in a desperate position, you wouldn't even think to ask an AI. It wouldn't even cross your mind, because you know, intuitively you know it's not a person. What you desperately need is a person.
I want to introduce into the show Joseph Siegel, who's the Executive Vice President at Bright Achievements, and we'll find out about that.
Bright Achievements ABA Therapy is a provider of ABA therapy for children who have been diagnosed with autism. We service about 600 patients in multiple states, New Jersey, North Carolina, Virginia, and we're expanding to other states as well. ABA therapy stands for Applied Behavior Analysis. And the way that we practice ABA therapy is in our agency is, we call it compassionate ABA therapy. We work together with the parents of the children with autism on their goals for the child. Loneliness is a terrible thing, and we trust the parents to to give over the goals for that child, but the therapy itself, that happens one-on-one with the child. And I mean, that's one-on-one with the child in the child's home or in one of our clinics. And, obviously we collaborate with the parents, but the therapy is one-on-one with the child. That's the beauty of ABA therapy, that, as we mentioned, it's a spectrum. So, some people are higher functioning, some people are lower functioning, and everybody has their own goals and their own desires. For some, it might just be that, the family would go to the mall on a Sunday afternoon, and we provide the therapy to work with the child in order to help them be able to do those things that so many of us take for granted, and so many families take for granted. That's the beauty of the work that we do. The blessing it is to be able to be in this line of work. It's to understand, and even for children at a very young age, to understand that people are created differently. Everybody's in God's image, but everybody's different. And to accept people who may have different behaviors than you. Something might be difficult to them. It's a broader issue in this country. But I do believe that as time goes on, that thankfully there is more awareness and is able to help neurodivergent children and their families, to live better lives and to make it easier. But it's a battle, and it's something that we have to continue fighting. Just to accept people where they are, and to bring more awareness to this. But I do think it's headed in the right direction.
Oh, Joseph, thank you so much for this. What could be a more important thing to do and to get involved with and study and practice than this? I just can't imagine anything more important than this. Thank you so much. We did a little filming recently with a woman called Marcel, who's a doctor of psychology and a trans person. And it's a piece that really isn't just about her. It's about isolation and alienation and the suffering that comes from that. And I think you'll find it extremely, extremely touching and informative.
So my life's been a journey. We might be here for a few hours, but in short, I was raised in the Syrian Jewish community in South Brooklyn. I am one of the first openly trans people from that world. We had no queer education in the place I came from. It was controversial for me as a person assigned at birth male to go into the healing route. I was trained as a psychologist. I have my doctorate in clinical psychology. But around when I graduated, I had some trouble with it philosophically, and for a lot of emotionally, a lot of issues that I felt just for human rights and human dignity and honor, like transphobia, homophobia, sexism, racism, that I felt was deeply and sadly connected to a lot of the practice, at least in the ultra-Orthodox style. I literally thought all I could do was beg God to change me, like a miracle. And I would say, I'll follow every law if you just change me. Thankfully, today, I feel mentally stable, happy, healthy. I learned how to be vulnerable, speak my emotions, seek help, and find safe spaces for it. But they just didn't exist. Today, I'm finding, again, find spaces where I can be vulnerable, where people can make space for me. Whether it's communities online, even Reddit, whether it's just a listening friend or a random canteen in North Carolina, inside when you feel safe and held. It's like a resonance. So if you feel that, notice it, take note of it, and find out where and how, if you can, to replicate that as much as possible. The way our society is structured today, it's almost like structured to keep us apart from each other. There's very few spaces where we can gather, and oh God. So if you're there, if you're in that spot and you're hearing this right now, I guess, oh God, if you have nothing else, the page always listens, is what I like to say, the journal. There is goodness to be found. There is healing, and people do exist who will listen, who will make space. And it might not be a therapist. I'm a big advocate for people getting into therapy, but I was in conversion therapy. There are problematic therapists who abuse as well. I just want to name that there are safe spaces. They do exist. There are safe people, and there is some hope. I dare to hope. Yeah.
We are fortunate to have next the hands of Peter Kutt. Peter Kutt is a concert pianist and a good one. So let's go with Peter Kutt playing Bach. Oh my goodness, that was so calming, and it made me calm. I hope it did that for others too. What a beautiful rendition. Now for something, as they used to say on Monty Python, now for something completely different, but equally great. It's some home down music from a great couple, Paddle Faster, Karen and Scott. And they're going to start off with a fantastic Ralph Stanley song. I love Ralph Stanley, I really do. Memory of Your Smile. And then if you guys would introduce the second song, I'd appreciate it. So here it is, Paddle Faster with Memory of Your Smile.
I'm trying when
so beautiful. Oh, thank you. To introduce your next song, I can't imagine what you're going to do, and I know it's a song called "Rolling in My Baby's Sweet Arms." So that was just marvelous. So
This is an old hit from Flatt and Scruggs. One of their most famous tunes.
Feel so grateful that you entered my living room with that incredible music, and you called Paddle Faster for a reason. I play a little guitar myself, but I could never in 1,000 years do that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Incredible music. No AI machine at this point could even approximate the complexity and the heartfulness of that. Tell us a little about the kind of music you're playing, please.
Well, it's known as bluegrass music. We consider it folk music, basically, because it came from the Appalachian Mountains and Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. But it's music of the people. We play with people. We play for people. We have jams, and we get together and share the music. And it is really a sharing experience. We do more than just perform. We like to see people smile and get excited and clap and sometimes dance. It's interactive.
Thank you for that. Scott, you got anything to add to that?
I think you've said it very well, Karen. I really do.
Yes, I think so too. Well, thank you.
Actually, I did want to go back a little bit to something that Aaron had said in his segment about concepts and learning things that take a long time to get. That's true. The music that Karen and I play evolved slowly from folk tunes from Europe from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And we assimilated it through listening to records, from meeting people, and from having these experiences with our teachers who gave us concepts, as Aaron was saying, that we didn't fully understand till years later. And that seems to me to be so much a part of it, that we're a part of a creative experience that started before us and will continue.
Thank you for being so succinct about that. That's a beautiful explanation. And really, what could be more community-oriented than that? I mean, from what you just said. And speaking of which, thank you for saying these things to us. They're very, very important and fit in with all of this. As does our next guest, the great Moshe Sobol. And I want to talk about who he is, if you don't know. Moshe is a professional musician, a drummer, a percussionist. He plays a fantastic vibroharp. I haven't heard anyone play it that well since Lionel Hampton, honestly. He's a board certified music therapist, MTBC, and a licensed creative arts therapist, LCAT, in New York. Welcome, Moshe. Tell us exactly what you do.
It's such a pleasure to be here. And so essentially right now we provide interactive group music therapy programs with a focus on percussion, where I have a series of djembe drums, as well as some adaptive drums for people that aren't able to hold the drum in, the regular way. And we provide an engaging experience that helps socialization, that helps creative expression, that helps memory, long-term, short-term memory, helps focus, and just overall posture, mood, affect, and it's all music centered. If you were to look at one of our groups, you wouldn't be aware that these goals are being addressed. You just look like a really great time playing music with each other.
Wow. You know, nothing could be more relevant to a discussion of true community and how to maintain communities and how to develop and grow them. And it's very moving to hear this, because we're talking about people who are isolated or worse, and most of us live in a comfort zone, not all of us, but most of us do, where we don't really think about this stuff most of the time. Not because we don't want to, it isn't part of our daily experience. So I want to thank you, Moshe, for this exemplary work, because it's not only in itself interesting, it's also a model for what we should be thinking about in this part of the 21st century, about simply helping people to be the best thing they can be about themselves. So thank you, Moshe. I really appreciate it.
You're most welcome. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. It's an honor. I wanted to make some remarks to finish this off. 30 years ago, David Letterman, who we all know, had a very youthful Bill Gates on his show. And he leaned into him and said, "What about this internet thing? Do you know anything about that?" So there was a time when even a person like David Letterman had no idea what the internet would be. And there was huge amounts of antipathy towards it. It's going to ruin the world, it's going to do all that. And instead of which, it did create a kind of community, as strange as it seems, because nowadays, when you go to Facebook, you see a lot of stuff you don't want to see. But there are aspects of internet and other online services that do make a kind of community, and we just have to make them better and more heartfelt. I really believe that. I wanted to finish by talking about the human cell. You'll see a picture of it. The human cell is so incredibly complex. I didn't know this. I thought it was sort of a nucleus and stuff running around it in a lot of space. But when you see photographs recently taken of a human cell, incredibly complex. Within that circle are probably 25,000 things going off, at least. So each human body has 40 trillion cells. If you multiply that by 8 billion, the population of the planet, you come to, what is it? 320 septillion human cells on the Earth. 320 septillion cells, human cells on Earth. So what I'm going to read out is this. If we can together strive for a global community, there are that many cells to play with. So let's enjoy, but watch closely, AI. Check it out. Create some guardrails. Make it as benign as it can possibly be. And let's support ferociously the people who are helping people with it and without it. And we've seen quite a few of them tonight. And AI will definitely grow a higher degree of self-consciousness, no question about it. It will increasingly be asked to improve itself. Our humanoid, vast cellular and emotional intelligence displays how much human-based energy is available on this earth right now if we only take a better shot at building community with the best and least questionable technologies available. Out of this should come sense and sensibility about artificial intelligence and evolved therapy too. Thank you so much for watching.
Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the right.